Here we go. Oh my god, what is this? It's a long one, but fairly interesting. Girls Frontline 2 is a cesspool of problems. Is this just, the discourse has gotten muddy according to Mica Team. So I don't know if I want to read through this whole thing. They have a TLDR. Okay, good. That's great, because this is way too much for me to actually want to read through. Short preface for everyone. I've just came back from a 6-hour drive through the countryside with my dad. I'm back from my grandma's for vacation. I'm far too tired to be doing this, but I know that I just have to, or else everyone is going to be demonized and our concerns are going to fall on deaf ears. All right, TLDR is way down here. Mica have gone in full damage control mode while avoiding direct talk with the community. They know they were going to get into hot water for this string of terrible decisions and went with it knowing full well they could get away by stalling and slowly softening the blow with new reveals and sock puppets. People are angry. The story has absolutely not been up to par with the first game's quality, even after YZ said that he would be overseeing the rewrite of the content. It's become obvious that the gameplay is an afterthought, considering this game has seen more rampant power creep. Any future content will have to be balanced around the most OP units, which will devalue older units that can't output the same performance. I played China, next patch is great trust. Mica Team, shelling all the fan favorite characters from the previous game to the point there's only 2 Defy girls and AR squad left. Minor favorites have nearly all been added. Their Girls Frontline 2 originals have absolutely not stuck the landing. Delaying expected changes to the resource shop so they can squeeze a few extra bucks out of people. I mean, yeah, that really sucks. Being dishonest about it, having to be confronted by their player base on the matter. I mean, let's be real here. You know you've done fucked up when your own players are calling you out. Global players and Chinese players. Yeah, adding to skin gacha without previewing it to the new features streams. Yeah, if they had just previewed that, I think a lot of this drama would have been, well, I mean, it wouldn't have been drama. Let's be honest. People would have voiced their concerns with it, and then I think, you know, they could have settled on something much more fair. Making the system immensely stingy, adding a ton of monetization to the new Elmo feature, making generic "we're sorry" posts to shut people up, taking 2 weeks to meet with community representatives for something that should be a priority and should have been scheduled this past week, all while they try to make the movement lose steam. If anyone reads up until this point, thanks, this is terrible. We need to get together with the other communities and be on the same page. If you all agree with this, or if someone else makes a better list, make sure to translate it and pass it around and see if they agree with this. I feel like the narrative is shifting and they're slowly gaining control of the situation, and this cannot be another Raymond incident that is simplified to people saw NTR detects and went crazy. Like I and many others have said, the skin gacha is just a start. They can lock anything behind the gacha now. And that's true. That is something I've actually mentioned. So here's the thing. I've had people actually argue with me, right? In the videos, I've done 2 videos on this so far, maybe 3. And I've stated, here is my thought process. Tell me if I'm wrong, chat. Like, genuinely tell me if I am wrong, okay? Up until this point, I am a very ardent Girls Frontline 2 player. Wobsy, who's in chat right now, who's also a content creator, is another Girls Frontline 2 player. He's also in our platoon. He's a very, I mean, decently good platoon member, yes. Decently good, okay? I don't want to stroke his ego. So tell me if I'm wrong here. Up until this point, there has been no skin gacha, right? Every skin has had a price. Right? You can buy it for 10 bucks, 20 bucks, whatever, right? I'm fine if skins are 50 bucks, honestly. Because like the skins in Nikkei are what, 50 or 60? It's obscenely expensive, but sure, whatever. Set price. Now, up until this point, sure, the 50-50 for characters is the 75-25 for weapons is crap, right? I still lose my 75-25 all the time for my weapons. Even so, that is the limit of the gacha. Now they are introducing skin gacha. And my argument was, I think this is bad, because if they introduce skin gacha into the game, then that sets an entirely new precedent for it, because that means they can introduce and implement gacha anything they want, they can then make gacha. And if people allow for this to happen, then they think they can implement anything with gacha and people will accept it. So then my argument here is allowing them to do this sets a precedent where they will only continue to lock and gate future options, potentially features, behind gacha. They'll introduce more gacha skins, probably less base paid skins for 10, 20 bucks. That means potentially everyone's gonna end up having to spend hundreds for skins. Who knows what else they'll introduce locked behind gacha. So again, my argument is that in so doing and in so accepting of this, is going to allow for them to gate everything behind gacha in the future that they deem should be. And people are arguing with me, no, it's fine that the gacha skins are going to be implemented. They're saying, no, Stix, you're wrong. The gacha skins are fine. You just don't need to pull for them. Yeah, I know we don't have to pull for the skins, but there's gonna come a point where the majority of the skins are gonna be gacha, and that means very few skins are gonna be purchasable at a base rate, and that's terrible. And then everything in the future has the potential to then be gated behind gacha. If we're just like, sure, yeah, Mica, you keep locking stuff behind gacha, good on you, then that's what the game is gonna devolve into. Literally, a gacha game. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. We already have certain interactions in the gacha, I've been told. Wait, what? That's wild. We're going back full circle to loot boxes. Yeah, the age-old argument of just don't pull. I loathe that argument, chat. I genuinely do. You're right, it's the same with the price tag on the games. They always have to see how far they can go, and ta-da, we have a new standard price. Exactly, yeah, 100%. But I genuinely and wholeheartedly hate the argument, if you don't like it, just don't spend on it. Like, shut the fuck up. If they were just cheaper, more people would be able to. If they just didn't make it gacha, more people could spend on it. Goddamn, dude. An update from the Girls Frontline 2 team urging players to send them feedback too. Okay, so it's a day later. It's dumb, it is. What gets me is how they advertise the macchiato skin with the future interaction scene and then lock that scene behind a paywall. Exactly, that's probably a skin Mrs. Stix would have paid to have too. The next gacha is gonna be 50-50 for a successful login. Exactly, yeah. All right, what is this? New in-game mail on the Chinese server about the offline meetup. Dear Commander, registration for the Crew Deck special offline meeting will close on August 10th. If you wish to participate, share feedback and related gameplay content, take note of the deadline and click the link at the bottom of the in-game mail to complete the registration or feedback questionnaire. We'll gather feedback, evaluate it comprehensively, and implement improvement plans into the game as soon as possible. I genuinely hope that this is true. The offline meeting is currently in preparation. Once registration closes, we'll promptly select and contact participants, aiming to confirm and announce a final list before the end of next week. Once again, they are choosing who they want here. They're gonna cherry pick the people that left the feedback that they like, so they can control the entire narrative. They're going to review and prioritize the feedback submitted through the questionnaire. For matters requiring further discussion, we'll continue to evaluate combined online and offline feedback and announce adjustments through official channels and future updates. We urge commanders to communicate rationally and avoid engaging in malicious attacks against one another in the community forums, social media platforms, okay? So relax, chill. For English and global commanders, submit your questions or feedback with via the usual English channels, via email. Reading this incorrectly, or does this not mean that the attendees will be able to talk about the outcome of the meeting as long as they don't mention unreleased content? Assuming the miracle that Mica does in fact decide to change the gacha and furniture interaction pricing, the official meeting will be held within Mica Team's company premises. Any information about the meeting outside of its content must remain confidential. Other company projects under development, internal operation matters, etc. All attending commanders will be required to sign an NDA on site. We ask for your wait, they do state any information about the meeting outside of its content must remain confidential. So yeah, that means that people can talk about it. Yeah, that definitely means they can share it publicly. I think this PR stunt should be boycotted, and Mica should be forced to open a QA thread on social media with live stream responses. It's the only guaranteed way that the community would remain transparent with Mica giving honest replies to genuine players. So far, it seems that Mica just wants to control the narrative by censoring the entire communication and selecting their own paid moles so they can dodge the authorities if they come under scrutiny. This is not about the players, it's about Mica trying to cover legal grounds. Yes, 100%, that right there, that is pretty much it. Yeah, you can talk about the in-game stuff, but can't talk about the other gacha most likely, but yeah. Basically just the content of the topic, that's it. Finally, Girls Frontline 2 China's patch preview will be pushed back an entire week to accommodate the results of the offline meeting. Just hope we'll keep the chance to obtain the skin for free at the end of this debacle. I mean, that doesn't sound bad. There was a post on social media regarding the offline meeting will be delayed by 1 week in order to include updates from the official offline meeting on the 17th of August. It is supposed to be broadcast this week for the next patch. A dev notes video where they discuss the new content that's coming. Usually these come out a week before an update, which would have been today, but they say they're pushing it back a week to discuss the meeting in the next one. Remember, it's a closed meeting behind an NDA, so we'll likely not get much real info until the broadcast. The meeting is gonna, it's the NDA was, if I read that and understood it correctly, the NDA was in place to effectively stop you from talking about other stuff, not specifically pertaining to the meeting. The meeting is going to happen on the 17th, and a week from the scheduled broadcast release, it would be the 18th or 19th. Please, something good come out of this. I just don't think there's drama behind. Yeah, for real, we all do. Girls Frontline 2 is a phenomenal game. Please, God, do not ruin it. We can't. Come on, we can't have this game die. We can't have this game fail, man. I like how Girls Frontline 2 content isn't synced across regions. Yeah, but they're gonna, apparently they're gonna catch up global to China. Ultimately, yeah, Girls Frontline 2 is still not in a good state, which is unfortunate, but what can you do, right? Oh well, I guess. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment, so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.